Hello there, I'm Jonathan Clough. You recognise this music? You remember back to 1968 when 2001 A Space Odyssey was released. Stanley Kubrick, the director. I'll just turn it down a tiny bit. This is one of my first space memories. My father took me to see the movie and I was probably pretty well space fixated before that, but afterwards there was nothing stopping me. And of course the year after that was the Apollo moon landing, Apollo 11, and I carried on from there. In more recent years I've got very heavily involved with many astronomical elements, and I wanted to quickly talk to you about my experience and what I do and how I present. I do believe very much in having visual effects, videos, lots of images, as I find that makes a very good way of getting my messages across and getting people excited in what I'm doing with my astronomy. So, talking about the things I do, one of my major occupations at the moment is with a group called the Cambridge Astronomical Association. I'm the events secretary there, and as well as speaking to the group from time to time, I also am one of the people who arranges all of the speakers for our events, which is a very interesting occupation. I get to learn an awful lot more, which I can incorporate into my own talks. So the Cambridge Astronomical Association, CYA, is based in Cambridge, meets every week, has active young astronomer groups, but also has a very active 700 strong membership of people of all ages, which is really, really good. One of the other things we do is we support the Cambridge University Institute of Astronomy, who have a Wednesday evening public open evening every week, and the Institute of Astronomy arranges for speakers to come and talk to the public. But the Cambridge Astronomical Association organise a stargazing event every week out on the lawns of the observatory, and I'm one of the presenters of those events, where we explain what we can see in the heavens using our telescopes, projecting the images onto screens and talking through the planets, the moon, local stars, and also some of the deep space objects, nebula and other galaxies which we can see through the telescopes. And it's a fascinating way of explaining to people the life history of stars from when they're born in places like the Orion Nebula, right the way through their life cycle, through to an end when we see potentially see a supernova, or at least in our case the remnants of that in things like the Crab Nebula. So it's a great event to bring people to. We talk to people of all ages, and it's particularly nice engaging with the members of the public who are there and answering their specific questions. Other areas I get involved with are general talks to different groups. I give an Introduction to Astronomy course to the U3A in Cambridge, and I'm also running a similar course for other groups on demand, basically. This shows you a little bit of the list of what I do, and it's actually quite a nice way of explaining the scope of what I can talk about. Cosmology, everything from the Big Bang, explain to people what happened over the evolution of the universe as we move from the Big Bang itself through the Dark Ages into the beginning of star formation, galaxy formation, up to the present day, and explaining some of the physics behind that, but in layman's terms, to make it as interesting and as accessible as I possibly can. Next area is about our solar system, always a fascinating area, and I've actually got a couple of entertaining talks which have turned into almost like a quiz with some unusual facts about our solar system, in addition to the standard facts as we work through the 8 planets and the over 90 moons now in our solar system, talking about what's happening and all the latest developments. As I mentioned before, talking about stars, from the birth of a star right the way through its life cycle through to the death, and talking about different types of stars right the way through the spectrum, from the tiny little brown dwarfs and white dwarfs right the way through to the blue supergiants. Human exploration of the universe is something which is fascinating. I mentioned the moon landings earlier on, and I've been recently talking to groups about Apollo 11 and the moon landing. I expect to be doing more talks about other moon landings as the cycle goes through with the 50th anniversary. But latest and current work and things like the International Space Station and latest missions to Mars, and then moving on to unmanned missions and a lot of expeditions at the moment to places like the Sun and to Mercury, all the time finding out about new things and new exciting facts about our universe, which are just amazing, and I love to impart that to the groups I talk to. And then finally on this list I talk about actual practical astronomy, how to set up a telescope, what sort of telescopes you can use, what you can see with different things, and do you need a telescope at all, or can you just work with a pair of binoculars excuse me, or your naked eye? So lots of different things to talk about there. So a lot of that's my general talks. Final area I do get involved with is local radio, and I'm a member of the Huntingdon Community Radio group, and I give I appear on a programme once a month where we talk about the sky. It's called The Sky Tonight. A little bit of a pun on the old Patrick Moore programme. However, it's a fascinating 1 hour story once a month, talking about what's happening in space at the moment, both exploration and astronomically. So those are my general areas of expertise. So I hope you found this little talk interesting. If you'd like to talk to me more about doing talks or coming and talking to a group, then do please let me know. My name is Jonathan Clough. I live in Cambridge. I'm happy to work around the UK. Thank you.